So I wanted to make a video all about how I travel. I mentioned in my how to find the perfect tattoo artist for you video that I like to travel to get my tattoos. And not only to get tattoos, but have a couple different methods that I like to do to travel. I have a car, I have that Bronco, but I haven't always, and I don't really drive very often. For a while I had a job, I worked a couple days a week, so I had to be really savvy about how I traveled. So here are a couple of my tips. I've only ever traveled in the US, so unfortunately my tips are just for traveling in America. I welcome you all to put in your input and tell me how you feel, and I'll get started. So how I do the majority of my travel out of Philadelphia is through Megabus. Megabus is a bus service where you order your tickets online. There's no in real life purchases. So you order online and you can go pretty much everywhere. I feel like every year they add more stops to the Megabus. Places I've traveled are primarily New York, Richmond, Boston. My old roommate went to Canada on the Megabus, and a lot of my friends go to Pittsburgh pretty often. There are a couple tips to taking Megabus. One is you can get your tickets really cheap if you order ahead of time. If you know, for example, you're going to get a tattoo or you're going to see one of your friends 5 months from now, order the tickets then, and you can find them for almost $1. The way to get the dollar tickets is the first day the tickets become available for that date, they are $1. I've never gotten dollar tickets, but I have gotten tickets for $3.50 or $5.50. It never cost me more than $20 to get to New York and back. Not ever. I've never spent more than that. And there are other methods to get to New York from Philadelphia, like Chinatown bus or taking New Jersey Transit, but every time I come up, Megabus is the cheapest. Megabus is good too because it has outlets and Wi-Fi. I would say the outlets on the bus and the Wi-Fi work half of the time, not more than that. But it's a nice bonus, especially because the Greyhound buses I've been on and the Bolt bus I was on didn't have outlets, which became super crucial, but I'll talk about Greyhound in a minute. So there's always Megabus. I took Bolt bus one time, I really liked it, but I think I spent $56. So 2 summers ago, I went to Chicago, and my experience to get to Chicago and back, I think I spent less than $200. I went in the summer, and I was thinking of flying to Chicago, but flying was really outside of my budget, so I went on Craigslist rideshare. And how I did it was I looked for other people posting. I found a couple things. I found one guy who was like, "Hi, I have a really loud radio, $100. And I was like, cool. I guess I'm into that. But then when it came down to it, I found this really cool couple. They were goat farmers out of Lancaster, and they were heading to Chicago for a wedding, and they were like, "Hey, split some of the gas with us and you can tag along." And it was actually a really good experience. It cost me $40 to sit in the back seat of their car, and it was really awesome. And I think it was a really good idea too. If my boyfriend and I ever travel long distance and feel comfortable enough taking on a passenger, we had a lot of fun talking. They told me all these stories. It was a really nice exchange. It was before I had a smartphone, so I remember taking a picture of them with my iPod Touch. But this is what they looked like. Happy, really nice couple. And it was a lot of fun, especially learning about goat farming. My advice though is to be really careful and really cautious, because it is kind of a form of hitchhiking, and I give you the most caution ever. Do your research. Travel with people your own age. Like that guy who was like, I have really loud radio, so you can muffle my screams. Why? And for $40, that was great. The plane ticket, the one way, was $200, so I saved all that money. My other experience was with Greyhound. Now, Megabus a few years ago had a lot of dead zones, which means you could travel up the country, but there were a lot of places where the Megabus didn't continue, or only 2 Megabuses came through the town that day. So it would have taken me a couple days to get to Chicago through Megabus. I've been told that it's a lot easier to get to Chicago now if you take Megabus from Pittsburgh to Chicago with only a couple stops in between, but for me that wasn't an option at the time. So once I got to Chicago, I had to take Greyhound home. And here are my tips for taking Greyhound. If you don't have to take Greyhound, don't. Please don't. I had the most awful experience taking Greyhound from Chicago back to Philadelphia. I was in transit for 26 hours total, and so before I got on the Greyhound bus, it was raining, and it was raining all day, and when I got on the Greyhound bus, it was a refrigerator. It was freezing cold, there were no outlets, it was the middle of the summer, and since I was traveling, I packed as light as I possibly could. So I promise, I swear, when I got back to Philadelphia, my clothes were still wet. That's how cold the bus was. But my bus went to Chicago, from Chicago to Detroit, and then we had a layover, and then from Detroit to Pittsburgh, and then we had a layover, and then Pittsburgh to Philly. And at first, this big man came and plopped himself down next to me, and I was like, really? You're gonna sit right next to me? But after 15 minutes of him falling asleep and me being Arctic cold, I kind of scooched next to him and took his embrace. He really did keep me warm. I recommend, beyond everything, packing a sweatshirt, packing a blanket. I posted a picture of everything that I packed with me, which was 2 outfits, a notebook, some sunscreen, some makeup, a book, deodorant, soap. And I actually packed it all in this book bag. And I kept a lot of space just in case I needed to like put a lunch in there or a water bottle. Right now this is actually our beach bag, but this is the exact backpack I packed. They sell these plastic bibs that wrap over your backpack when it rains. If I ever travel for a couple days span like that again, I'm going to invest in one of those plastic things because I was soaked to the bone. And my continued grievance with Greyhound is when we got to Detroit, Detroit's Greyhound station was just a row of porta potties, and you could go inside, and there was a microwave and a soda machine. But no vending machine, no sort of machine that sells like snacks to put in this microwave. Nothing. And there was no internet, no Wi-Fi at the Greyhound station, just this porta potty situation. It was really grim. I think my layover was for 2 hours, and when I went outside, I was the only person I saw, and it was like 9 a.m., so you figure like people are going to work, right? No, don't explore Detroit by the Greyhound station by yourself. Just stay inside. But there was nothing to eat at that Greyhound station. So at that point, I hadn't had anything to eat for like 5-6 hours. The next stop that we made was a rest stop, and it was a Checkers rest stop. So if you're vegan, vegetarian, dietary restrictions, I would say plan ahead for your bus to stop somewhere that will not accommodate you. My other grievance about Greyhound is our transferring bus to Pittsburgh was late, And the other Greyhound, I feel like it could have been really easy to communicate that there were people who were transferring from one bus to the other. And our bus got there as the other bus was pulling out. So our bus was like honking like, hold on. But I don't know why they couldn't radio each other and be like, hey, we're 4 minutes late if you want to just fall back for a second. If I would have missed that connecting bus, my brain would have exploded. Everywhere. Clean it up. Clean up this apple. Greyhound that picked us up in Pittsburgh was just like in a mall parking lot. So it's not like I could have been like, can I speak to your supervisor? Who, a trash can? Is that who I'm talking to? So I don't like Greyhound. Don't travel through Greyhound unless you have to go to like some dead zone where there's no Megabus or the Megabus is completely gone. One thing that is good, one thing to do when you're traveling though, if you can travel at night, it's really helpful because you save on boarding or whatever you need to do. When I stayed in Chicago, I stayed with a Tumblr friend, so I was really glad that I could like post that on Tumblr and be like, hey, I'm gonna be in Chicago for one night, if someone can like put me up. But I didn't have any friends through the travel, so it was good for me to travel at night. I didn't have to get a hotel or whatever. I recommend that. I also recommend traveling like during the week. You avoid a lot of traffic because I've been stuck on a Megabus that was only like supposed to be like a 2-hour journey, and the traffic we got stuck in, I thought I was dead. I thought the bus was caving in on me. We were in traffic for so long. Not going on holidays, not getting there on Friday, Saturday. These big major travel dates are good to avoid, especially if you get anxious and nervous in traffic or just being on a bus in general. One thing I do like about the Megabus though is they now have reserved seating. You can pay an extra $5 to guarantee the seat you want on your bus. Other than that, it's usually general admission. You walk in and have a seat. It is a double-decker bus, so if you have feelings about that, sit on the lower level. However, get there really early because, no offense, but a lot of older people prefer to sit on the first floor, and damn are they punctual. They will get there before you. And the thing about the Megabus is it leaves on the dot. So if your Megabus is scheduled for 9:15 in the morning, 9:15 is when the Megabus pulls away. So you want to get there 15 minutes early, a half hour early if you want that good seat, or you can pay the $5 reservation fee to pay for the seat that you want. I've only ever taken Amtrak one time. I'm constantly swayed away from Amtrak's prices. Amtrak is a luxury though. Amtrak has Wi-Fi that always works. Amtrak has a toilet. Amtrak has outlets everywhere. You can plug everything in, but you're definitely paying for it. Oh yeah, and you can bring luggage, you can bring whatever. It sits with you. You can see it the whole time. I don't know if you can bring a bike, but I'm sure you could find that out really easily on their website. I bet you can, because it is supposed to be like commuter friendly. But I took Amtrak to Lancaster to meet up with my rideshare people, and just the one way to Lancaster was $30. To go to New York from Philadelphia on Amtrak, you're going to pay around $120, $150. It is the most guaranteed way. You're not going to get caught in traffic. You're not going to go over like a scary bridge that might freak you out, but you're going to pay for those comforts. So it's almost worth it to do your research and find a more practical way to travel. But if you got it, I would take Amtrak every single time. We were looking up ways to get to Montreal for next summer, and there is a train that goes to Montreal for only $80 each way, but the travel time is 13 hours, and the drive time to Montreal is only 7. So you also have to consider these time delays and turn them into a dollar price. So if you tell yourself, I only spend $80, but the travel time is $13, you have to think about what money do I lose in my travel? What worth is your time, and then put a dollar sign on it. Rental cars are a really good option if you are a responsible young adult. We went to Virginia to buy our Bronco, and we had to get a rental car to drive out there so we could do the Bronco to drive home. And of course I was like, let's take Megabus, baby. But he was like, I can rent a car. And our rental car, I believe, came to $59. But another thing I want to talk about is, like, not hygiene. How do I say this? Every time I take a bus somewhere, I end up at my destination a mess. Even if I sleep nicely, even if I just read a book or I'm listening to headphones, I will arrive at my destination. My hair's a mess, my makeup is wiped, my breath stinks, my armpits stink. I always recommend, especially if you're like trying to meet up with somebody, to bring an extra t-shirt. There's just something about that bus, even if it's an Arctic temperature, that just makes you stink. It makes your breath stink. And I don't know if it's TMI, I don't know if you're watching this like it's only you, but if you are like in a long distance relationship and you are traveling to meet somebody, bring an extra t-shirt, or bring a t-shirt to like a pajama shirt to ride the bus in, and then change into your new shirt like you've been wearing it all day. Put some gum in your mouth. And I also say, like, don't overhydrate, don't eat. When I was on that 26-hour journey from Chicago to Philly, I didn't use the bathroom once. And I know it's because we stopped at all those rest stops that I couldn't eat at, but that was kind of a blessing. I was low energy, so it was really easy for me to sleep, and I didn't have to use the restroom. Not every Greyhound has a bathroom, and not every Greyhound station has a in-ground toilet. So my biggest thing is, like, don't get caught up in going to the Arby's and getting your favorite giant sandwich, because you're gonna sit back down on that bus and you're gonna gurgle and you're gonna burp and you're gonna have to use the toilet. And I kind of just recommend, like, snacking, like fruit roll up, granola bar, water, a little bit of water, one small bottle, nothing huge, because you want to exist like in the lowest amount of energy possible, just like energy save mode, just like chill. Don't rile yourself up, just try to stay as chill as possible and just not exist. One time I was on the bus and I was coloring, and a woman told me to stop because it was too loud. And although I have a lot of opinions on that, from now on, I don't want any confrontation. I just sit there and I chill. And I probably slept the most I've ever slept in my whole life from that Chicago to Philly trip. But I came out of that bus stinking. I reeked. But those are some of my tips for cheap US travel. I recommend getting to where you need to go in the most savvy way possible, and still taking into consideration travel time and everything like that. But you can also make a really great adventure out of being savvy and saving your money and stuff. Craigslist rideshare, just be careful. Do as much research about that person as you physically can. It is the internet, so look them up, do a background check. I don't know, how far are you going? But I think rideshare is a really cool thing. Or pull everybody together, see where your friends are going. I'll give you $10 if I can go too, you know? I think there are so many ways to get out of your city, out of your town. Before, when I was living with my parents, it was hard for me to get to Philly. I had to take 2 trains to get to Philly, and then from Philly take a bus, to wherever, but, and I've probably said before, like, I don't like to travel at all. It makes me nervous. I'm out of my element. Am I gonna get robbed? Probably. But it is good, like, travel to get your tattoos, travel to see new friends. I've met so many of my Tumblr friends through forcing myself to get on a Megabus, and I'm always grateful. And it goes both ways. Now they know they can travel to see me, and I think it's amazing. Let me know how you like to travel. Let me know what you do to get around. If you have a car, if you like taking road trips, if you take the Megabus, if you're a Megabus expert, maybe you had a good time on Greyhound, let me know. I want to know. I want to travel too. I've still got half a summer left. Let's do this. Yep, but comment down below, subscribe, follow me around. Let's become friends. And let me know how you feel. Thanks for watching, and till next time, bye.